Her family unfortunately abandoned her, but what this little dog did is hard to believe. A female dog protects her puppies from the cold, but it's not just her little ones that she's keeping warm. Some passers-by were left speechless. This sweet dog, named Lay, lives on the streets with her adorable pups in a South American country called Argentina. On a cold winter night, she heard a noise, and what she found wasn't a puppy, but a human baby. The child had been abandoned by its mother, who likely left it for certain death. But this mother dog had a big heart, and her maternal instincts led her to carefully pick up the baby and take it to her shelter, where her own puppies were waiting. She added the baby to her pack and introduced it to her new siblings. She also protected her own pups and the strange new addition, sharing her body heat to keep them from freezing in the cold. This dog saw a baby lying there on the street, and she knew she had to help. So she did what any good-hearted mother would do, and she tried to help the vulnerable child. And what she did next was truly incredible. Little Santino was born in the small town of Vida and Alpino, Argentina, in the winter of 2013. However, his mother abandoned him when he was just 1 month old. Instead of taking him to a local orphanage, she simply left him alone in a park, left to fend for himself. Alone, the tiny baby had no way to defend himself, and at such a young age, he couldn't even lift his head for more than a moment, let alone wander off in search of warmth and safety. Of course, all newborns need plenty of food and sleep to survive. They often sleep in short periods and wake up only to eat. Babies always need someone to tend to their needs, so it was unlikely that Santino would get the rest and sustenance he needed to survive while on the streets. To make matters worse, his mother abandoned him during the coldest time of the year in Argentina. In July, temperatures can drop to 5 degrees Celsius. This meant that if left alone, the newborn could easily freeze to death. However, Santino, lying in the park, wasn't entirely alone. Most of the locals were familiar with a stray dog that lived in the area. This street dog, whom they called Lay, often spent her days wandering the streets in search of food. Most importantly, she needed enough to eat because she had a litter of puppies relying on her. Her maternal instincts were in full force, so when she stumbled upon Santino during her rounds, she couldn't leave him lying there all alone. She had to do something, and what she chose to do was truly amazing. She went back to where her future litter was and, instead of feeding them as usual, she decided to take them on an adventure. She took each of her puppies and brought them to Santino. Once there, she arranged her pups in a way that they surrounded the baby. They snuggled close to keep each other warm, and thanks to their body heat, little Santino managed to survive the chilly night. The next morning, a nearby woman named Alexandra heard a strange noise coming from an alley, something that sounded like a crying baby. Curious, she went to investigate. To her surprise, the sounds were indeed coming from a baby. She had stumbled upon little Santino, abandoned on the street. When she saw how Lay and her pups had welcomed him into their fold, she couldn't believe her eyes. However, Alexandra had no choice but to interrupt the adorable scene she had witnessed. After all, she had no idea how long Santino had been left there, so she hurriedly took the newborn to the nearest hospital so that he could receive medical attention. That's how the authorities began investigating Santino's situation. They discovered that his mother was a 33-year-old woman, and due to the abandonment, they removed all 8 of the children she was caring for. In light of all this, Lay was hailed as a hero in Argentina. But this wasn't really the first case of its kind. No, in 2008, A 14-year-old girl gave birth prematurely to a girl in a slum near Buenos Aires. However, the girl panicked and left the baby in a garbage-filled vacant lot. But Leigh adopted the baby as one of her own pups, and once there, she kept him warm and safe, treating him as if he were one of her own offspring. This lasted for some time until the dog's owner heard the baby crying, and that's how they discovered that the baby was there. He was lying with the other puppies, covered with a ragged piece of cloth, and though the baby had suffered some minor injuries, there wasn't a single bite mark on him. After finding the nearly 4 kilograms baby, the dog's owner took him to the neighborhood hospital. Despite a few bruises, the child was okay. As a result, the hospital staff decided to call him Esperanza, which translates to hope. When authorities spoke to the baby's young mother, she told them that she was scared to tell her parents about the birth. However, with the support of welfare agencies, she managed to continue her studies and be a mother. The dog became a local celebrity in Argentina. She even won awards for her good deed. Despite being a shy dog, she didn't enjoy all the attention she received. Eventually, the attention lessened, and she was left in peace to care for her puppies. Even though the dogs are no longer celebrities, their actions will never be forgotten by those who care. Thanks to both of them, the babies survived the most terrible of circumstances. They certainly proved once and for all why dogs are known as man's best friend. After gaining fame in Argentina, the mother dog and her puppies found a loving new home. In the end, they all had a happy ending. So, did you like our story today? Let us know in the comments. We love reading your comments. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and I'll be back in our next video with another sensational story. Take care, and until then, a big hug.